What is going on, everyone? Welcome into today's show. Going to be discussing the two-game slate for today in the WNBA. We have the Valks versus the Lynx, and we also have the Mercury versus the Liberty. Again, with the new format for the WNBA, the Lynx are playing the Valks at Golden State, and we are seeing the Mercury go to New York. So, what do we have for today's slate? We're going to break down the Valks versus the Lynx. First, a couple things I want to call out here. Tiffany Hayes is out again. This is probably like an 8-minute episode. So Tiffany Hayes is out for today again. I'm a little bit shocked by that. She's been practicing. I don't really know what's going on, but they've been pretty conservative about injuries all year. Kayla Charles will get the start. And prior to last game, she had put up, I believe, 5+ rebounds in every single game except one where she's had 20+ minutes. So something I'm looking at there. But really what I like is with Tiffany Hayes being out, I love Veronica Burton assist props. We actually were able to snag a 5.5 line at -130 on Bet365 yesterday after the Tiffany Hayes news. At that point, everything had kind of bumped up to that 6.5 line at even odds, but we're able to snag a 5.5 line, which is huge. I'm very excited about that. She has been averaging 20.7 PAs per game. It just had 19 last game against the Lynx. So to go with 7 assists. 6 should be no problem for her in this matchup. Otherwise, the Valks are going to get absolutely blown out here. She's the only ball handler they have at this point. A couple things to note. Generally speaking, the Valks playing at home would be a huge benefit, but they are playing at a different arena. They had scheduling conflicts. They're not playing at home. Technically, I hope we can see a really cool atmosphere. I think ultimately, at the end of the day, the Lynx are just too good of a team and will ultimately win this game. But looking at some first quarter spreads or even first quarter money line might not be a bad idea when targeting the Valks, even in a somewhat of a neutral environment, slightly different from their existing home court advantage. What we saw last game, I kind of talked about this in the prop thread, but Fee has been limited to, I mean, she's not having huge games, but she's also going to get her. So she's been right around that 19-20 point line. Her rebounds have been low against the Valks, and she's, I believe, hasn't cleared 6 rebounds in any game against the Valks this year. And I thought, going into this game, based off a couple of games previously, that Courtney would have a pretty good game here. She really struggled in the first half, and we saw her get essentially benched for Natisha Heidemann, who had a fantastic game, 13 potentials in that game, almost getting to 20 points. Just a phenomenal game by Natisha, and she's really been outplaying Courtney to this point. But we do see them kind of feed off each other as well on the court. And so I'm anticipating Natisha getting, 25 minutes in this game. She's been the 5th best, one of the top 5 players for the Lynx so far in the playoff series. And Cheryl Reeve's not afraid to go to her if she needs to. Again, bringing that spark off the bench has been really phenomenal to see. A couple other things. I think when you look at volume-wise, Cecilia, Janelle have decent matchups here, just from a purely a volume perspective. They're going to get their shots up. If they can just connect on a few. They had some open looks, just couldn't really make it work in the situation. And then the last thing really here is this game really is going to come down to whether or not the Valks can hit open threes. The Lynx allow several open threes. We didn't see them connecting on this in that game. But I ultimately think the Lynx will win this. I actually played on Bet365. I played a first quarter Valks money line. I played a parlay, a three-piece parlay. Valks money line first quarter, a Valks 9.5 spread first half, and then a Lynx -18.5 on the game. So, which had some really good odds due to the negative correlation there as well. So, again, not a lot here. I like Natisha. I like her points plus assists on DK at 13. You can get it at -125. I like Burton 5.5 assists if you can get that. I don't really like 6.5 as much, especially at minus odds, but that's really what I'm looking at here in this game. Jumping over to the Liberty versus the Mercury, the big news here is whether or not Stuvie is going to play, and it sounds like she absolutely is. It sounds like she has a sprained MCL, so I'm not sure how well she'll be able to play, but she's definitely going to give it a go. And as long as she's playing all right, that's going to be huge for the Liberty. They are at home, so they're going to have a little bit of a raucous crowd, which should be benefiting them. They have an opportunity to win this game, clear up the series, and move on to the next round, which is definitely something they're trying to get through, right? Going to play up against the Lynx if they can. when I look at this game, a couple of things stood out from last game. Primarily, Alyssa Thomas had one of her lowest PA totals of the entire season. And what we saw from her was really in that second half becoming much more aggressive to the basket, understanding where the defense was kind of playing her and saying, I'm going to go get my points here. And in a win or go home scenario, I like Alyssa Thomas to get a lot of buckets here, a lot of shot opportunities. So I actually played her ladder here. I think that's a really good opportunity. If you wanted to feel a little frisky here, Satu and her three line could be of value here as well. She got up a ton of attempts and just couldn't connect in this game against the Liberty, but they were open looks. And she even said in her press conference that she felt like they should have gone in. They were good looks. So something to look at here. Sabrina Ionescu has had 5+ rebounds in all of her games really against the Mercury over the last couple of games. So something to look at. And then Natasha Cloud played absolutely phenomenal this last game, scoring 23 points on 9 of 12 shooting. She went 3 of 6 from deep to go along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. She used to be on the Mercury. She loves playing against the Mercury. I struggle with trying to take someone like this back to back after a really strong performance, but that is something to look at. And then the last thing I want to call out is that with AT's points, how's it going, Goncalo Cardoso? With AT points, what I like here is potentially Monique assist. She had her highest PA total of her entire season in this last game, and a lot of that was feeding AT. So they kind of had a different style and a more traditional guard feed big style down low with AT. If the shots aren't falling, if Satu is going to go 1 of 10 again, that's what you're going to need to keep them in this game. And we saw Monique feed AT at times in the second half of that game. So that's definitely something I'm looking at here as well. And then I took a play earlier in the series, before the series began. I took Dontel Jones to actually lead the series in rebounds. She had 12 rebounds in this game, only scored 7 points, and kind of an interesting matchup for her and how they are defending her and doing a pretty good job of limiting her success here. Yeah, I'm not playing Emma, man. Her minute volume is not high enough for me. There's always that opportunity that we could see Stewie go out with an injury, which would obviously give Emma more time. But outside of that first game, her lines just haven't had enough value for me, to be completely honest, to want to take. I think you got to focus on some of the stars here potentially, and then some of the outliers like Monique. So again, Sabrina, her RA has been a strong thing here. She did clear it last game, but it took an overtime period to get there. So just keep that in mind. But again, I think there's some good value across the board. I think being at home, the Liberty should be able to clear this out, but you better believe that AT is going to give it everything she got in this game, and I like her point ladder here. So just a quick breakdown. Like I said, not going to be a long stream today. Not as much I love here as I do on the other slates that I've had in the past. I'm going to be traveling tomorrow, so probably won't do a live stream, but I'm going to try to get a soccer stream out tonight with my buddy Ryan, who caps soccer for the Discord. So again, if you like this stuff, make sure to follow me on X, follow Parlay Olay Bets on X, and also make sure to check out our WAP if you do like the content we're providing. We provide all of our picks there. Everything's fully tracked, 100% transparent. So if you're looking for someone who's actually going to win you money and teach you how to do that, we are a great spot to go. So check that out, wap.com/parlay-olay-bets. Awesome, y'all. Have a fantastic Wednesday, and I'll talk to y'all later.